And you're radicals. I see Weber State put up the Utah State new flag today. So, first off, kiddies, can you tell me what NOAA stands for? Now, NOAA, isn't that part of the United States government? Now, wasn't that formed? Isn't that to protect the ocean and the atmosphere? Isn't that what it's the charter? Read its charter. Read it. So, think about this. What's more degrading and more vile and more harmful to the ocean and the atmosphere than Fukushima? Let's see. Jet stream moves left or right. It happened on that coast of Japan, pushed into the Pacific Ocean. The Japanese current flows right to the coast of Oregon, California, to the point when the tsunami earthquake happened, an overpass that cars drive on landed on Gold Beach, Oregon, on the California-Oregon border on day 6. Now, kiddies, let's go back. Doesn't storms rise up? Doesn't storms rise up off the Pacific Ocean? And that creates our weather pattern here in the United States? We're downwinders, right? So wouldn't you think that'd be priority number one? Fukushima, full-blown out meltdowns being pushed in for 4,758 days? No, guess what NOAA's doing now? I'll tag that this. You cannot, this is theater of the insane, theater of the evil. This is theater of the ignorant. This is the most ignorant thing I've ever seen in my life. So, you know, Tim Martin and I have shot videos, boots on the ground, I'm actually shooting. So Congress, the teabagger psycho Congress of 2018's last act, and we thought they were crazy till this one, was to pass a federal law to allow Oregon to shoot seals and sea lions, kill them for eating salmon. So they're blaming the catastrophe called the Great Pacific Genocide, named by Kevin Blanch. The salmon have collapsed in an acute radical. In science, we call that an outliner. Just like Kevin Blanch said it would right here. You promised you would never break the chain. If you don't love me now, you will never love me again. I still hear you saying you would never break the chain. Oh, you broke it. So it wasn't gradual. Climate change been going on for a long time. Of course, Fukushima meltdowns, though, they're hot. You know, 13 years proven Delmar syndrome, burrowing into the ocean, pushing into the ocean. You're telling me there's no byproduct for that? I mean, bringing star power to Earth. How hot's the sun, kids? Well, let's see. It's 94 million miles away, and it heats this planet. And it can give you skin cancer for 94 miles. These are bringing star power to Earth, Livermore, California. So, NOAA, this week, this is their answer. And it's been well documented and well confirmed, Kevin Blanch's work, that the salmon are dying at sea, not dams, in an acute, radical fashion. As Kevin Blanch stood right here and said, March, 13 years ago, every day, this energy is going to break the chain. It will take out the plankton. Then it will cause first of all, go to the tide pool, which they did. Look, in science, we call that an outlier, an acute radical event. Not gradual. And we have to data. You hypothesize, but you got to gather the data, which I did. I did the tide pool work. I did the salmon work. And just like I said, the salmon, steelhead salmon, they don't live in Idaho in a river. They live in the ocean. Oh, steelhead aren't salmon. Oh, yes, they are. They're trout? Well, a trout is a salmonoid. I got news for you. There's landlocked ones and there's seagoing ones. Steelhead are seagoings. They live in the Pacific Ocean, and it's not a fucking pasture, as the fishing industry will call it. So they started to collapse in 2012, just like I said, in an acute, radical fashion. But the Chinook salmon are the smoking gun. They go to sea for 5 years on average. I says they won't collapse till 2016. The fact they had record returns 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, everybody's laughing at me. I said, will you believe me when they go off a cliff in 2016? Well, they went off a cliff. The Kenine had 1,975. And I'm not talking, that was 77 when you didn't break the chain. For the year, they should have that. And that's by number of fish. That's not by volume. That's not by weight. they're skinny, they're sucked up, they're scrawny. So the Jedediah Smith and the Klamath are right next to each other, the rivers. One has dams, the other does not. Post 2016, the Chinook salmon have crashed on both 97%. One has dams, one other. It's been well documented. Tim Martin and I is the guy who did all that work. We're the ones that went to the biology, and finally they started admitting, yeah, you're right, Blanche. They're dying to see. They're dying to see. So, get this. You cannot make this up. This week, NOAA. NOAA. Now, can any of you kiddies tell me what NOAA stands for? And they, by the way, I love it how the First Amendment cases, whatever, it's only government, whatever. We are the people. You don't think you're part of this government? Oh, we are the government. Because as soon as you're born, the second you get a social security number, you become part of this republic with a constitution, this corporation. We are the government. NOAA is you, we, me, the sea, Kevin D, the ecology. We're the, fuck your borders, fuck your state lines. I mean, we're all connected to this Mother Earth. The jet stream tells me so. I mean, hello. NOAA. National Ocean Atmospheric Administration. So this week they come out. Now get this. You cannot make this up. And says we're going to start euthanizing sea lions. Now, as you know, Tim Martin and I called all the zoos when they first started shooting them and says, well, are you going to feed them to the animals? And the zoo says, we don't want them. We're not taking them. We're not feeding our, creatures in there. They're too toxic. Their exact words. I mean, Tim called the Portland friggin'. He says, oh, no, they're too toxic. So, Congress passes a law in 2018, Trump signs it, to legally shoot sea lions, which sea lions have been eating salmon for millions of years. This is how insane. I remember being on the plane coming from Europe. There was a guy from Oregon. We flew right along the coast. We went up over the top of the Arctic and down, and I'm sitting with a guy. He's originally from Greece, and he moved to New York. Worked for New York, retired in Oregon. Big hunter. First thing, of course, he did was start complaining about immigrants. In Greece, immigrants here. I says, well, aren't you one? Well, that's different. Oh, okay. Started talking about, and he started saying, well, the sea lions are eating the salmon. I says, no, they're dying to sea. You think that's the answer? Well, yeah, no. I mean, it's insanity, right? Well, it's evil. It's the theater of the ignorant. Well, what causes them to die at sea? I've explained this for fucking 13 years, every day in detail. You have an acute radical event that caused a heat source in the United States. Look, it's been documented. I'll present this data too. Now they're coming out and saying, yes, it's true. Blanche's work is true. The ocean heated up in the most acute radical fashion in the history of the ocean since 2012. Well, they get the robots in there yesterday, and they can't find them. You see, you got the dripping that looks like ice they showed in those pictures. You know what that is? That's not the cores. That's the actual metal and rebar from the pads that these reactors sit on top of. The core is giant concrete pedestals. Those concrete pedestals are plumb full of rebar. That's what you're seeing melting. I mean, the dripping, they're burrowing deeper and deeper and deeper, which was hypothesized as China syndrome, which I call Delmar syndrome, which we know that they've been, and I could prove this, the greatest red herring in human history is we're going to start dumping water August 24th of 2023. Then how come if that's the case, in May of 2023, 2 months before they supposedly started dumping treated water, then how did the rockfish in Fukushima Harbor have 18,000 becquerels of cesium-137 per kilogram in their flesh, which is 180 times over the raised legal freaking limits? Now, cesium-137 only comes from an exchange. If you have cesium-130, you have strontium-90, you have americium, you have iodine, you have plutonium, and I hypothesize that you have one You don't even know what it is. Called plutonium. Oh, God, that got to be crazy. You can have new elements. Then how did we get Californium? How did we get Tennessean? How do we get livermorium? Oh, they're not real? Oh, look it up. Oh, yes, they are. Fill the bottom of the prairie. You know, this is new. Never happened before. Never happened in Mayak. Never happened in Santa Susana. Never happened in Chernobyl. One graphite reactor that blew up the 780,000 men entombed. We didn't entomb shit. You know, I always lobbied for the egg go up underneath. They didn't do shit. So you're telling me there's no byproduct? For every action, there's a reaction. That's the greatest action in human history. 3 full core mountain does at least 3, most likely 4. And fucking 7, 8 spent fuel pools with the biggest load of freaking spent fuel on the face of the planet, including MOX fuel. What's that? Weapons grade, and that's just what we know about. Pushing the Pacific Ocean. I can prove this. The Ken Buser study, the KOK study, the Hawaiian boat study. I'll present it. I presented it how many times? I'm the guy that leaked it into the internet. It's out there now. They were over there in June secretly. All these biologists and so-called bootlickers who call themselves scientists, they're not scientists. I mean, they're not scientists. Kevin Blanch's a scientist. When you sit and worship the nuclear energy god at night and every day and have a statue you must pray to, I guess, of course, I guess that's your money. You're not a scientist. In fact, you're the opposite of a scientist. You're protecting any interest. We don't do bias. That's the greatest bias in human history. Who is this? Oh, God, that's my doctor. Oh, no. I got to answer that. We'll carry this on. Well, so they're shooting them. Stand tuned.